This is serious business. On Friday is your practical. Now, like I did, I click on the new button and it brought up the wizard. So if you notice, everything you type here actually automatically selects themselves here as well. Let's say, for example, if I was to put 8, it gives me Windows 8. If I was to put 2008, it gives me Windows Server 2008. If I put 3, you see that it's kind of sensitive, right? Now, that's what makes it a virtual machine. It's sensitive. It knows what it needs to do. Most of the times, you actually end up doing the customization because the virtual machine is actually built in such a way that there are templates created, because more or less there's only one thing that is possible to do that, a template. When we get to Server 2012, I'm trying to mention this now because when I get to Server 2012 training, there's something I'm going to be talking about on the last book of your training, which is called templates, whereby you create a virtual machine template, whereby if users request for virtual machines, that template automatically is used for running that particular computer. More or less like the way we're going to be doing that. If I click continue now, it's going to give me the default RAM that is required to run the operating system. Are we together? Now, there's only one thing that is possible to do that. Template. Template is the only thing that is pre-created that can be what? Customized or changed to suit your what? Your specification. So we're going to click on Windows PCE, WIN7. Of course, the type is a Microsoft operating system and the version is Windows 7 64-bit. Now, I don't know for the rest of you, how many, what is your drive? What's your space? Some of you are using 32-bit, right?
Yes.
So, of course, your computer, did it take 32-bit automatically as well?
Yes.
The Windows 7 Ultimate I sent to you guys, was it 32-bit or 64?
64.
It was 32. Okay. Excuse me? The Windows 7 is 64.
Yeah, so mine is 32, but I also have 64 as well.
Was it 32-bit I sent to you guys?
32-bit.
It was 32-bit.
x86.
Okay, so let's take our mouse, we'll screw to 32-bit. Because remember, the idea for this version is the architecture of the virtual machine to be compatible, okay? So we'll click on continue. Now, you see, did this actually go with the default slide I showed you earlier on? When we say Windows Vista needs a Windows XP and Vista needs Windows Vista needs a minimum of 512. Huh?
Yeah.
The minimum was 512, right? Megabyte. Is that not correct? Okay, so but in this case, we're going to be using a gig. So this is where some people will have problems with their computers now. Because now we're going maximum. Huh? Yeah. So let's click continue. Of course, you see that the drive actually increased as well. It's no longer 10 as with Windows XP. It's now double the size, which is 25. Is that not correct? Okay. So we're going to take the default and we're going to click on create. Now, of course, we're going to take the default VDI, right? Because we're using VirtualBox. Then we're not creating a dynamic allocated. We're only creating what? A fix. Because we all know the advantage of dynamic. It's written here. So we'll click continue. Now, remember, if you were asked to change the name of the drive, you can come here and change them. But for best practice, we always want to keep it default. Is that not correct? Now, yeah, you can come and increase it, or you can do what? Decrease it. Of course, you don't want to decrease it. You want to what? Increase. Because by default, you need what? 25. So logically, you are either what? Increasing it, or you're using the what? The default settings.
So we take 25 at least.
Excuse
So
me?
we take 25 at least.
What do you mean at least?
Now.
For now.
The default is 25. You mean what?
For this practice now, can we use 25?
It's up to you. Remember the question. Some people decided to run a computer that doesn't meet the minimum requirement. What happens? It's your decision. Make your judgment. I'm only explaining to you the reason why he gave us 25, because 25 is the minimum requirement required to run Windows 7. More drive will not be that you probably want to run extra programs, extra applications. That's why you have 300 gig, 1 terabyte, 500 gig. Of course, click on create. So we're going to just wait for this to run through. It's going to take quite some time because it's more drive than the one we created earlier on. So when this finishes, we're going to return back to it and continue from where we stopped.